Throughout my adult life, I've been pretty lucky. If it's ever been something that I've wanted or really had a dream to own, I've just worked hard and bought it. But for the past 25 years, there's always been one item, one object that's always escaped me owning it. But that is about to change this afternoon, because today's the day that I'm going to take home my first ever Speedway bike. But there's a problem. I know absolutely nothing about building, maintaining, owning, riding, or even starting a Speedway bike. So this video series, it could get pretty interesting. My name's Carlito, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So the project begins today, and the first thing to do is to go and pick the bike up in my super guttering van. I wasn't sure whether a Speedway bike would fit in the back of a small wheelbase Ford Transit Connect, but it did. It actually fit perfectly. So if you have a small van and want to know if you can get a Speedway bike in the back, you absolutely can. The front wheel of the bike was wedged between the side door and the bulkhead, and the back tyre was wedged up against the back door. I drove home without using any straps or tie downs or anything, albeit only about a 500 metre drive or so. Once I pulled up outside, I unloaded the bike all by myself. I was actually pleasantly surprised at how light it was. And for the first time ever, I was now an owner of a Speedway machine. How buzzing are you to help with this then? Are you buzzing?
Yeah.
Right, so I've been told it's a good idea for when you try and start it for the first time for someone to put that around their wrist, and if anything goes wrong, pull it out. That's your job. Pray for me. So where do I start? Like I said, I have no knowledge at all of what to do with one of these machines, but I think that's what will make this project so interesting. I'm quite simply asking people that I know for tips and advice, and then just getting hands on myself. A special shout out to Carl Rushin, Jake Barrett, Eric Pike and Martin Peters for already taking the time to chat with me about where to begin. The stuff I'm going to go over in this video will be laughable to 99% of people who have any knowledge about one of these bikes at all. But since this series is pretty much Speedway bikes for dummies, here are a few ridiculously simple things that I've learnt on my first day. The first thing I learnt was how to put the bike on and take the bike off of the stand. In motocross, you basically lift the back wheel and pop the frame onto the flat stand. But in Speedway, the stand is shaped for the frame to fit into a small recess on the stand itself. You lean the bike over to the right onto the footrest, place the frame into the small recess on the stand, and then lean the bike back over again. As you'll see in this video, this is something that I found pretty straightforward, but Alice did manage to cock it up a couple of times. The second stupidly simple thing that I learned was how to prep the bike to start it, which is about as simple as you can get. You simply just turn the fuel tap from the horizontal off position to the vertical on position, and the bike is pretty much ready to start. Another thing I didn't realise is that the bikes have two fuel taps, but I only turned on the one. Then it was time to try and start the bike on the stand. I was told to start the bike on the stand for the first time as it was much safer than bump starting it with an inexperienced person on the saddle. I was told to pull the back wheel back and forth a few times to build the compression, then pull the back wheel up with one swift hard pull, and the bike should fire up. But that didn't go as well as I'd hoped. I'm trying to start it as I've been told to, and she's a bit slippy. Feels like it wants to lift off of the stand, which is, I just feel like so I guess we'll go with plan B. Right, I was told not to start it like this. I'm just going to YOLO it. And when I say go, just push, 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 push. If I'm honest, I was pretty scared to try and start the bike on the seat, so I wasn't putting any real confidence or intent into bump starting it. I also quickly realised that the back tyre was flat as a pancake, which probably wasn't helping the situation. But as I grew a set and started to put a bit more oomph into trying to start it, I was having a little bit more luck. However, I still had my concerns about what would happen when the bike actually fired up, because I didn't really have a clue what to expect. So I went back to trying it on the stand, but this time I had the idea of using a rag to stop my hand from slipping, which was a daft idea. If I'm honest, at this point, I was starting to feel a little bit heartbroken. I'd gone from being optimistic to feeling like it was a stupid idea to take on a project like this. But if you know me, you'll know my phrase: never give up, never surrender. So I told myself, just act like you actually wanted to start. Give it some proper intent, and if all hell breaks loose, just rip out the cutout. And as soon as I tried to bump start it with any intent at all, the first time I actually committed properly to trying to start it, it fired up straight away. I was absolutely buzzing. I let it warm up for a couple of minutes, turned the choke off, and then gave the bike a couple of revs. The sound of the older silencer sounded absolutely amazing. The video doesn't do it any justice, but it was ridiculously loud. After I turned the bike off, I drained the methanol out of the carb and put the bike away. So, what are my first thoughts after my first day of owning a Speedway bike? Well, it feels very different to how I thought it would. When it's on the stand and the back wheel is spinning, just the smallest of handfuls makes the bike react quite violently. What you see from the grandstand or on television has no comparison to how the bike feels when it's running in your hand. I mean, I've only ridden it at walking pace in the car park at the moment, but even so, a Speedway bike does feel a lot more dangerous than any other motorcycle I've ever handled. I know the bike is old and would be considered a piece of junk to anybody who races Speedway, but it's absolutely perfect for me to teach myself how to get hands-on, and maybe at some point in the future, teach myself how to ride it. So, where am I going with this project? Well, between now and the 2026 season, I'll be posting videos as often as I can, showing you what I've been learning with regards to maintaining and upgrading the bike itself. If there are any riders or mechanics watching and you wouldn't mind me standing next to you in your workshop just to watch and learn, please get in touch. I promise to stay out of the way, but I really do need all the help that I can get. Once I've exhausted all the maintenance content, hopefully I can get myself back as fit as I was before the pandemic. Hopefully throughout next season I can learn to ride the bike and get to a level where I can confidently slide the corners. I won't be racing or looking to break any records, but I'd love to tick being able to ride a Speedway bike off my bucket list. Maybe I could have a go on a few different tracks and describe how different an oval circuit feels to a raw novice. We all know that a Speedway track is the most technical circle in the world. Once I've exhausted the riding content, my goal is to give the fully upgraded bike away to a young lad or girl who was just like me when I was a kid. There was nothing I wanted more than to become a Speedway rider, but unfortunately, my family never had the money or means to turn my dream into a reality. I want to find a kid who was just like me, and by this point, the channel should be big enough and earning enough money to help fund a young fan get started in Speedway. This sport desperately needs more riders, and I'm hoping the videos like these will encourage more fans to get their hands on their own machines and ultimately get more young people on bikes. So if you could click the thumbs up button, type a nice comment in the comment section below and subscribe, it really would help the growth of the channel. And in a few years time, hopefully we can start turning young Speedway dreams into young Speedway realities. Subscribing to the channel is 100% free of charge and means you won't miss a video in the future. I hope you all enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.